All right, friends, let's talk through some AP stats here. So, got my lovely face in the lower corner because the Zoom is not taking up one of the FaceTimes. All right, number 16 through 21 here I wanted to get through. A newspaper editor wants to investigate residents support a new high school stadium. They request sample of 500 students using stratified. So this is subgroups. Stratified means subgroups based on voting districts within the city. Which of the following will achieve desired sampling design? When I say this is subgroups, I should say this is like homogeneous subgroups. Homogeneous, homo meaning same, right? So subgroups that have something in common and something in common that matters. Okay, so if I look through these answers, A would be convenience. Let's just take the easiest ones, the first ones. That's not good because that might not be a fair representation because people that return it early might have something in common or something different than those that return it late. B is really good. B is stratified. Why wasn't... Oh, so that's like a highlighter. I thought it was like a pen. Goodness gracious. Okay, so this is what we want. Yeah. So select a random sample from each voting district based on the proportion of city residents in the district. So you've got, say you've got 10 districts. Some of them might be bigger than others, but you want to create subgroups based on those 10 districts. And the bigger groups will get bigger representation and the smaller groups will get smaller representation. This is like the House of Representatives. And that is stratified because you are choosing from subgroups. So I'm going to skip through the rest because they're not correct and in the interest of time and moving forward. All right. Number 17, a survey. See if parents thought students' academics needs were being met. We're going to divide into two groups. One group of parents who live in cities with big populations and one group with parents who live in cities with small populations. A random sample, about 100 from each group is taken. So we have split them into subgroups based on something we think that matters. Homogeneous subgroups is stratified. So we're making sure that we get 100 of each group and we're splitting up and making sure we get some of each subgroup. That is called stratified. This is like the same question over and over again, but hopefully it's driving the point home. So 20 public schools, 20 private schools. We are splitting into subgroups and we're randomly choosing some of each. That is stratified. Stratified is a really, really solid way to do things because it guarantees that you get representation from all the groups. It allows you to gain information and compare. Maybe public schools spend more, maybe private schools spend more, but if we just randomly grabbed a bunch of schools, we could get 40 privates and we'd never know the difference. Number 19, we're going to estimate the mean number of minutes and working adults spend to commute, and we're going to split into 3 subgroups: urban, suburban, and rural. Why are we stratifying? Well, those things have something in common. Urban people probably don't spend a lot of time commuting. Suburban probably spend a little more. Rural probably spend a little more because they're further away from the city. Most jobs are in the city. Although with COVID, nobody's going anywhere, so none of this matters. But anyways, we're trying to make sure we get some representation from each group. And this is a tougher question because we haven't talked about all of these concepts yet. But what we're trying to do is get an estimate. We're trying to estimate how long it takes. And so we're trying to decrease the estimates, decrease the variability in that estimate. This is a tough one in this chapter because we haven't quite gotten there yet. But let's see. So I would say C is not a bad answer to reduce bias when estimating because each of these things are a little different. It's just not really biased because if we did it randomly, there would be no bias. It just might not be the best way to do it because we might not get some of each. So we're really trying to decrease. Like this might be really small, this is medium, this is high. So when we average them all together, we're going to get a smaller variability, a smaller standard deviation. I did not explain that question very well. I'm just going to say that will not be on your test because we haven't really gotten to the the main gist of it yet. Okay, we want to do survey of student opinion. We want a simple random sample of 60. So a simple random sample means every group of 60 students has to be equally likely to be chosen. So survey the first 60 students. That is not random because it's not that every group of 60 is equally likely. If you come to school late, you could never be chosen in this survey. Survey every 10th student. That is not random because not every group of 60 has a chance, has an equal chance. If you came to school with your friend, there is no chance you could be in the same group. And in a true random, you should be able to be. Use random numbers to choose 15 of each. Well, now we're splitting into subgroups. This is not truly random anymore, and it's a good way to do it. It's just not random. It's just not simple random sample. This is stratified. Number the cafeteria seats. Use a table of random numbers to choose seats and interview the students until 60 have been interviewed. I guess my thing there is, what if you don't eat the cafeteria? That's not bad. If everyone eats in the cafeteria, it's fine. But I like this one a little better. Number the students in the official roster. So now we know we're getting every student, not just the ones that eat in the cafeteria. Use a table of random numbers to choose 60. So now every group of 60 is equally likely. Another reason D is bad is, no, that's okay. The only reason is that we don't know that everyone eats in the cafeteria. 21. So we got 200 boxes, each containing 25 controllers. We're trying to figure out how many defective and how many are not. So instead of randomly looking at controllers, the easiest, fastest, cheapest way to do this would be just to choose some boxes, and the boxes are not split into subgroups. So this is not stratified. It's not stratified because the boxes are not subgrouped. It's not like the broken ones are in one set of boxes and the non-broken ones are in another. So these subgroups are heterogeneous. They're mixed up. They contain some of both. So what we're going to do is take 6 boxes and then look at everything in those boxes and kind of assume that those 6 boxes are a representative mix of all the rest. Not the greatest way to do it, but it's cheaper, faster, and that's why it sometimes gets used, and that's cluster. So cluster is when you choose heterogeneous groups. Stratified is when you choose homogeneous subgroups.